these parameters of observation are so advanced that you don't need a touch point. I can identify you with 80-degree or 70-degree accuracy by just the way you walk. Any national database right now is a huge cause of concern. It's basically you're shooting on on your own foot, because you're creating a structure which would totally feed into your adversaries' imperatives. And so we have to really think about trimming these databases, understanding, do we really need them? One department has one database and another department another database, and so what is the whole of government approach? And how does it apply to a threat perception? And once you understand that, the underlying parameters of this game, or the physics of this game, you'll probably realize that accountability of this database is close to impossible. The point is that data flows here and there, and maintaining a synergistic system which does checks and balances everywhere is a major challenge for any technological system. And I think the cost benefits are very misaligned right now. We're just creating databases on a whim, and the larger lessons from from the cybersecurity side or intelligence operations is that these databases would get hacked. I mean, anything worth hacking would get hacked. It's a very risky proposition what we're doing. So I think it merits a deep introspection of what our underlying structures are, societal structures are, and governance structures are. Unfortunate thing about our personal data protection bill was that it did not involve any deliberation at all with the society at large. There was little civil participation. And whereas in Europe, the GDPR actually came from extensive discussions over years. And so we basically just copied that thing and just plastered it on our own society. We don't know what our underlying parameters, expectations of privacy are, and how would they manifest in the next 10, 20, 30 years? And what is the larger zeitgeist of a society? How does the society feel about privacy? The moment we actually started talking about consent, it was already outdated. This whole idea of online or digital consent or whatever. Because you see that consent actually works on certain parameters, like my biometrics are sacrosanct, or my health data is very important. It assumes that privacy comes from denying these observables to a party. The thing is, these observables, let's say in certain cases, these observables are explicit. I scan your biometrics, I have them. Now, these parameters of observation are so advanced that you don't need a touch point. I can identify you with 80-degree or 70-degree accuracy by just the way you walk. Or in fact, I can scan your retina from such a large distance that that you won't realize that. If you start thinking about these parameters of observability, they are tremendous. If a service provider is denied of one observable, you just need a few partial or broken observables to identify or even just decode the life of a person. It could be broken location information. It could be a broken, your internet usage information. It could be something else, something coming from the chipsets. So all that combined. So we have already passed that Rubicon where we could actually control observability. So basically, you have to just assume that you will be 100% observable all the time. Because the previous idea of privacy came from observation itself. I don't want to be observed. But that thing has been completely breached, undermined. It's over. That phase of restricting observability is over. What the element of control you could introduce here is at identifiability. Its observability is non-stop. It's unending. In fact, we'll have 100% observability in the future. Every citizen would be sort of under its sort of lens or its panoptical. What we need to curb down is identifiability, the willingness of service provider to do that. But this requires a larger reorientation of the law itself. The law is still old school, and you can understand that it's going to be a huge challenge. almost all the countries in South Asia, they have squandered the cyber mandate. The kind of geopolitical advantage which they could have leveraged by using cyber operations for geopolitical purposes or geostrategic purposes or intelligence gathering or aiding their politics, foreign policy, that really never happened. And we had all the talent, but it just did not fly. And one of the reasons behind that, amidst all these societies and governments in South Asia, is that they would rather leverage these technologies to surveil their own citizens. And when it comes to the real geopolitical dominance which you could have gained from cyber operations, that has been squandered away by almost all South Asian nations, actually. If you look at North Korea, it has one of the most successful cyber offensive programs in the world. I mean, when I say successful, I don't mean it technologically, in terms of how effectively does it suit their geopolitical imperatives or the imperatives of the regime itself. Understanding of cyber operation and understanding the capabilities stems from years of experience. It's just something you have to experience, make your own mistakes, and then refine your strategy, which let's say the Americans have done over 30, 40 years. And so we somehow don't have a synergistic approach towards that because, as I mentioned this, in cyber, your institutional memory is your institutional capability. And we don't have institutional memory. I can tell you that one of the first joint cyber operations, when you say joint cyber operations, is like when multiple departments undertake them together. Happened 10, 12 years ago. We are still only mulling over what joint cyber operations are 10, 12 years down the line. So that kind of disconnect stems from the fact that we don't have institutional memory. And you build institutional memory when you actually you take proactive measures to enable such systems. And it requires a hugely synergistic approach. And the cyber is such a thing that its potential is so large and so high that it requires the full attention, the rapt attention of the national security establishment right to the topmost echelons. You cannot compare cyber operations across various geographies or states, because cyber operations actually are the perfect manifestation of the geopolitical imperatives of a nation state. So it's impossible, actually it will be counterintuitive, counterproductive to compare cyber operations. But what I've seen is that the marked lack of technological sophistication, that's one. The marked lack of strategic cyber operations. We probably could have done a few tactical ones here and there maybe, but the marked absence of strategic cyber operations, the potential is tremendous, but somehow we don't have that kind of strategic understanding and strategic sort of manifestation here. And you certainly cannot compare cyber operations across geographies. Yeah.